It's Kraken time, baby.
Oh no.
I'm ready.
Oh,
We're back.
My God. I can't believe
Yeah.
you started the show like that.
Yeah, because for those of you hello there, listeners of the 2-in-1 podcast, I'm Adam. I'm joined, of course, as always, by my dear friends and my fellow co-hosts, Daniel and Alex. Guys, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm okay. Actually, I'm more than okay.
Yeah, you pumped after that UFC event last night?
Yeah, there were actually sports on last night. I don't think I've watched a sporting event, like a new sporting event, in a month and a half.
You guys were watching Korean baseball?
No.
No.
No,
No?
sorry.
Okay.
I was watching Game 6, 2018, Nashville, Winnipeg, and I thought it was like maybe the game Nashville got eliminated. I hate when you replay games that aren't actually important. Like, just give me a series clincher and we can be fine.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I haven't watched. I think I watched part of 93, 1993. It was Detroit. They just had it on while I was editing the last podcast. That was the only old game I watched.
Yeah.
I'm just not as interested.
I've been
They're
watching a bunch of them.
Yeah? What have been your favorites to watch so far?
Double overtime of the conference finals between the Rangers and the Devils when the Rangers went on to win the cup. When Messi promised a cup in New York.
All right.
And
he beat a young Martin Brodeur, a 24-year-old, I believe.
Loser.
But yeah, it was sad because I thought like the Canucks had the momentum to kind of like do something.
Man, the Canucks have always that's a big story for the Canucks. They've got lots there, but they can just never get it done. We'll get to them a little later.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start the show off since we're talking about the UFC and that. Last night during the UFC event, it was announced that arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, Georges St. Pierre, will be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame class of 2020, guys. And I know, Alex, you're a much bigger UFC guy than I am, but if there are a few that even a casual fan know of, it's Georges St. Pierre. Yeah.
For sure.
An absolute star.
Star,
and he's French. I remember when he came back to fight Michael Bisping. Mm-hmm. Michael Bisping, and Dana White were all at the Bell Center, and I was at that game, and they love him there. Like French Canada love their guy so much, and he came back after he beat Bisping with the belt too, and it was insane. Like he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
That is, yeah. You don't get a whole lot of nice guys.
No. I know we're not big UFC guys in general, but do you guys maybe have a favorite fight or moment from GSP's fantastic, illustrious career?
To be honest, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I recently started watching UFC, like in January.
Oh, okay.
I hopped on the bandwagon when McGregor came back, but I have been absolutely hooked ever since.
All right. What about you, Daniel? Sorry.
Okay, my extent with UFC is something that I actually really want to work on. Seeing at how it's really interesting and something to kind of like delve into. My extent is probably the video games.
Oh, they're so good, so good.
And Georges St. Pierre's commercials. You know, he does those product commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it with me. But a favorite fighter, I just remember Chuck Liddell, Ken Shamrock, and Brock Lesnar.
All right, Mr. WWE over there.
Wait. Were Georges St. Pierre's commercials, were they as cringy as Martin Brodeur's commercials?
The thing is with Marty, it's just the ones with Marty. It's because he talked a lot, right? It just Georges St. Pierre's they were very just one statement or one sentence, so they were at they're okay. But you love both of them.
Right.
Marty sold out. Plus, it's weird. You never really. The only hockey commercials I really remember, commercials with hockey players, is you think of your Dion Tavares weird one, the first memories of the 1990s. You don't remember that. Stop lying. Or of the Crosby or McKinnon doing a very quiet Gatorade commercial when there's a narrator there. Yeah. So that probably doesn't help
and
Marty.
The Tim Hortons commercials. Don't forget about the great Tim Hortons commercials.
Those are actually pretty good. I won't lie.
That's part of the show.
That is.
Those are part of the show,
Yeah, because we buy hockey cards every year.
Yeah.
The question is,
true.
are we going to buy hockey cards this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no. I mean, are they going to release hockey cards this year?
Oh,
I
that's a
hope
good
so.
question. Yeah, same here. But speaking of the show, we'll keep going here. MLB the show, why not?
Oh my god.
Well,
That was a
I think
transition and a half.
I know, right?
I
I'm
like
trying to
that.
back on those. Alex, you have some questions to
Yeah,
ask our resident
Daniel,
baseball Daniel here.
Yes.
why is there 40 rounds in an MLB draft?
All right. Interesting you say that. So when you get drafted into the MLB, you don't have to declare.
Okay.
For example, like I always use this example. You could be someone in grade 11 or grade 12, usually grade 12.
Yeah.
You could be doing a math test, and you could be drafted. You don't even know it.
That's so weird.
Because there's just like you don't have to declare, like they just scouts go around and they
Right.
just go like, oh, I want to pick this kid. So the reason why there's 40 rounds is there's like, you know how like there's ECHL, AHL for NHL.
Yeah.
There's like technically like 5 minor league teams in baseball that you have to like work your way up to get to the MLB. That's why like they want to change that, because there's so much. There's like a team could technically control a guy for like 7 years.
Yeah.
He's like, you could be a restricted free agent up until you're 30 sometimes.
Wow.
Because you have to work your way up. So yeah, that's why there's so many rounds. That's why I'd like. This is like 2 things I take from baseball. Like one thing that I love is you could be drafting your franchise guy in like the 15th round because
Right.
you're gonna develop this kid for like 5 or 6 years and you don't even know it. But at the same time too, it's like fans, like especially for the smaller markets, if they get like a superstar franchise guy, like sometimes he might not even make it like the first 1 or 2 years because he's still gonna go through the system.
Right.
So yeah, that's why there's a lot of picks.
and now
also
there's 5.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, what I want to ask you is then is okay. This was broken by ESPN's Jeff Passan, and I believe it's Kylie McDaniel, that the MLB will shorten their amateur draft down to 5 rounds again, as Alex said, from
Yeah.
because of COVID-19. How big of a deal really is that? Because you just look at it, that's minus 35 rounds. It's pretty brutal. But as someone who actually understands the baseball development system, is this good? Is this bad? What do we need to know?
I think it's gonna be a bigger trend now. It's gonna be the same thing like I find with basketball. With like, there's gonna be more commitments to university now because there's a lot of guys that they were gonna probably like. This is like we talked about it in Moneyball. The biggest weighing factor. Like, are you gonna take the money and turn pro at 17 or 18, or are you gonna go to university? Now that there might be a guy that like scouts gonna say, you're projected to not go in the top 5 rounds. He's like, I should probably consider university then.
Yeah.
At this point, just to like polish his game.
So I did the math. So because you're losing 35 rounds, there's 30 teams in the MLB. 1,050 players will not be drafted in the MLB draft this year.
Yeah.
1,050.
So like one other trend I'm gonna see there too is because like there's examples, like I'll use Marcus Stroman for an example.
Okay.
Like he was originally drafted, I believe, by the LA Dodgers, but like it was like in the 37th round,
Okay.
something like that. And then he's like, no, I'm not signing. I want to develop my game and become a better player. And then he
Right.
went to Duke, and then he gets drafted by the Blue Jays in the first round. So
Yeah.
you're gonna just see more of that, where like guys just not gonna like, they're just gonna go to school now, I think.
To put that in comparison, in the NHL draft, there's 217 players.
Yeah.
So you said it was over 1,000 players they're missing. I also did some math. You could probably tell by the pain in my face
Yeah.
there. If you do a 20-man roster, 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, 2 goalies, and I believe I did this times 32. So that's what would be
Okay.
included. If Seattle, that's only 640 players. That's insane. That's the NHL. So if you took away the main roster of every NHL team, there's still about 400 players that the MLB have over them in a draft alone. That is incredible. Hey, that's a lot of. I assume now there's going to be a lot more maybe free agent signings. Fortunately, we've had some of those in the NHL as well, despite the lack of news. We'll start with 2 more free agent ones, and we'll start off, Alex, talking about Mikko Lehtonen. The Leafs signed him to a 1-year entry-level deal, over $900,000, and apparently, Elliot Friedman said in 31 Thoughts this week that other teams, unsurprisingly, were not happy with the Got this guy.
Well, we talked about it. Talked about him on Wednesday, right? That's when we first talked about it. We talked about the Montreal aspect of it.
Fantastic rant, by the way. That was great. I like that. I like that part.
20 minutes of rage.
I said this on Wednesday too. He's an interesting player in general. You know, he kind of had, this was really his breakout year. In the last couple of years, put up 24 and 29 points. Then this year he puts up 49, and of all leagues, it's the KHL. And you know, putting up points in the KHL, you know, especially as a defenseman, it does say something. Now, whether that translates to NHL ice is obviously a completely different story. One thing that I guess not worries in a big way, but a lot of, you know, highlights and stuff like that were really focused on the power play. And, you know, obviously the Leafs, you have Riley as your first guy. That's your power play quarterback. You know, Barry played a little bit this year, but that's obviously because, in my opinion, I think Riley struggled this year on the power play, whether that be because the system sucked or Babcock was too controlling, whatever you want to put the reason for that. So you put Barry there, but I think next year with a new assistant coach, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I think Lettinen's going to end up being that second power play quarterback. Now, the interesting thing about the Leafs, not necessarily interesting, it's they have all these defensemen. Like, I can list them out, right? Riley, they have Muzzin, they have Dermott, Sandin, Liljegren, Hall. That should be 6, right?
Yeah, Marty.
Stop. Martin Marincin. If you need to have a 7th defenseman, sure, put Martin Marincin in there. Yeah, that's what he is. That's what he signed for.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, those are the 6 you've named so far.
I think I'm missing one.
So what? Bailey.
Wow.
Riley,
Muzzin, Sandin,
Dermott,
Liljegren, Hall, Lettinen. There we go.
Okay.
Right, that's 7D right there. So what do you necessarily do? You have to re-sign Dermott in the summer. And, you know, the cap is obviously something we've talked about on the show a lot, and it's going to be a real nightmare scenario for a lot of teams, the Leafs included. Now, do you go out and just trade Dermott? I don't know if that's necessarily the smartest thing to do. I think you see where you can sign Dermott. If Dermott really isn't budging, which, you know, I don't think that's going to be the case, then trade him. Because it makes, you know, to sign in Toronto, especially with the team that, like, the defense that they have, it's not like he's a step above most of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like, you know, or from my knowledge, he's not a step above. He potentially could be. He can come and absolutely just impress everyone. And, you know, he could play in the lineup. That's why I think, you know, depending on the preseason, he could potentially be on the starting opening night lineup. And, you know, is Liljegren ready? I think of everything, that's by far the biggest question mark. Because I think, you know, the right side is really weak. And I think now's the time to try Dermott on the right side. And yeah, he only played a little bit, but just he played a little bit with the Marlies, but try him, see what happens. Lettinen also played on the right side, I believe last year or 2 years ago. He played a full season on the right side. He's played on the right side with Finland. So try him on the right side, and that clears things up, because in a way it clears things up. Because then you have Riley, Muzzin, Sandin as your left side. Then you have Dermott, Hall, Lettinen on your right side, in whatever order. So I think it's interesting to see what the Leafs do moving forward. Whether they think Liljegren is ready or not, I think is by far the biggest question mark for this team.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. You covered a lot of bases there, Alex. Daniel, anything to add there about this great signing and one that has the rest of the league very upset?
Yeah, great player. He's gonna come in right away to be a top four guy. I think. 700K, 700,000K. Can't complain about that, especially for the Leafs.
925.
925.
Yeah,
925. Okay. Sorry about that.
Your level though, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I think for like what Alex's interesting thing about the cap, it's like what they're gonna do with Dermott. I think he's gonna be an RFA, and they're gonna like try to negotiate it with him throughout. I guess what we're gonna perceive as an off season, but I was interested. Like I think of like Andreas Janssen. Like I see him as someone that's like maybe an extra guy now. Is he someone that like you could think you get rid of him and then use that cap to sign Dermott?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I wouldn't trade Janssen to sign Dermott. Like, I think if you're looking at trading, like when I remember towards the trade deadline, towards after the freaking pandemic, trading Janssen and Dermott were something people talked about, but it's also something that people try to shy away from, because if you think about it, Janssen really hasn't had a good season. He's been injured, just hasn't been what he was the year before. Dermott coming off an injury. Not everyone can come off an injury like Zach Hyman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So trading them now is trading them at a low. It's the same thing as trading Nylander at the end of last season. It made zero sense because you're going to get pennies on the dollar because he hasn't performed.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna reel us back in here because we're going a bit off of the signing front here. But a great signing for the Leafs again, the defenseman who can play on the right side apparently, which is always been has been a big thing with the Leafs for the past few years. So we need to address. So, hey, for those of you criticizing Kyle Dubas, he's trying things. He's doing the exact same.
Not right hand guy, right?
Well, right scenario.
The left-right balance is over.
Dubas is doing exactly what somebody in that a manager in that scenario should do when you're paying all this money to your top level guys. Is he's finding those European guys, those cheap guys. So, great signing for the Leafs. We move on to our second free agent signing, and Daniel, the San Jose Sharks have a 21-year-old goaltender, Alexei Melnichuk, to a 2-year entry-level deal, another $925,000. Who's Askarov, Daniel, when we've got Alexei Melnichuk? But in all seriousness, a great signing for the Sharks, who have some very big questions in goaltending this season, even last season as well.
I think, that's huge for them that they get this guy who's, he's 21. He has that professional experience. He's someone we look. I think when we were doing like the expansion draft, like we're looking at what is San Jose like? To be honest, what do they really have? Because all those years of trading their draft picks, trying to win it all, trying to rely on those veteran forwards, they really needed this, especially with goaltending. I love Martin Jones, solid 2010 World Junior guy, but he's not a starter. He had that one and a half good run with the Sharks when he first came in when they went to the finals, and the next year, but it's getting pretty bad there.
No.
Yeah. An interesting thing about this guy, and I think you brought up Askarov earlier. So this is from JD Burke at Elite Prospects. This is his tweet. Spoke with an NHL scout who regards Alexei Melnichuk as an excellent signing. Quote, there's an age difference, sure, but he's a better goalie prospect at present than Yaroslav Askarov.
All right. Well, it might be like a Brett Leeson situation. He's gonna run around a few circles with the younger guys, but there'll be some parity, or we don't never know. Later on.
Speaking of Brett Leeson, you're like last year in the draft when Sam Constantino was ripping his hair out and no one was taking Brett Leeson. You're like that anytime someone brings up a goaltending prospect that is not Askarov. Who's Spencer then? We don't need Spencer. Your birthday's in a week, so I might get you an Askarov jersey just for the hell.
Thank you.
But now we'll go on to
wait, which team?
Well,
Anaheim.
I'll take it out there.
St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, man. Jesus Christ, those Russian teams are really insane. But anyway, we'll move on from the free agent signings, quote unquote. We'll go to some drafty ones. Alex, a great signing for a divisional rival for the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Florida Panthers are bringing in their 2018 first rounder, Gregory Denisenko, to a 3-year entry level deal. Hey, guess how much it is? $925,000. This is a guy who. He's another one of those KHL guys. He didn't have a lot of ice time, but apparently he is a weapon offensively.
Yeah, it's interesting time in Florida. I believe Henrik Borgstrom, signed a 2-year deal with a team in Finland.
I will check.
If you can check that. I know it might not be Finland. It might be another European country. It really seems like, there's a website, now the name's not coming to me, but they look at trajectories. And Florida's Henrik Borgstrom and Alexei Hiponiemi, it's just been an absolute nightmare for them. Now, what is Florida's AHL team called?
That's a great question.
The Florida AHL team. That's what I'm calling them right now. It doesn't seem like they're developing.
Oh, Springfield Thunderbirds.
Springfield Thunderbirds.
How you know that is amazing.
That's impressive. But yeah, this is another guy. There's talks of whether he's going to play in the NHL or if he's going to go. Can he play in the AHL? How old? He's 19, so he probably is going to. Well, no, he can play in the AHL because he is from Europe. Because why have rules that don't make sense? It's the sport of hockey. Yep.
There's nothing official, but apparently, I can't find any legitimate source. Yeah. But there is word that he's going to the KHL.
KHL. Okay.
Which is that's a disaster because I remember he was a Hobie Baker winner or a finalist, wasn't he? I'll keep.
But I'm not sure. But he's supposed to be this is one of their guys. This is one of their not new core because their core is Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad. But he's supposed to be one of the surrounding pieces. And I don't know what the hell's going on in Springfield, but it really seems like things are not going well because not even just Borgstrom, but also Hiponiemi has not worked out or is not going well in Springfield. So it's interesting to see what they do with Denisenko. They're probably losing one or potentially both of Hoffman and Dadonov. So what they do there, be interesting to see.
Hiponiemi, what a fantastic name, by the way.
Absolutely.
He was on Finland when they won gold in World Juniors a few years ago against the United States. It was a great name, Hiponiemi. We have a bit more Leafs news on the front. Leafs assistant coach and former Florida Panthers assistant coach as well, Paul McFarland, steps down from his post and will become the head coach of the OHL's Kingston Frontenacs. Apparently, he's looking to be a head coach in the league, and he thinks his best route is through the OHL. Now, there is a lot kind of here.
Yeah, so he was head coach from 14-15 to 16-17 in Kingston as well. But now, he just went back. I don't think things worked out in Toronto the way I think we all thought it would. It was obvious as soon as this guy was fired, as soon as Babcock was fired, that there was something wrong with the special teams.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that someone was controlling the special teams that shouldn't have been, and it was quite obvious it was Babcock. As soon as he left, it seems like everything changed. The day, I think it was the first game for Keith's tenure up until everything shut down, they had the second best power play in the league behind Edmonton. Now he's going to Kingston and he gets to coach exceptional player Shane Wright. which I think is awesome for him.
Oh yes, the 16-year-old superstar.
That's sorry to interrupt, but like I had it open because I was double checking their roster.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Shane Wright, and I realized he was born in 2004.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm old.
Yeah. I guess another interesting story here is what the hell's going to happen with the assistant coach position in Toronto. My guess, everyone's talking about Bruce Boudreau. I don't know if people are joking around or not, but I think we all know that ain't going to happen because that guy can get a head coach job whenever the hell he wants. I think the most likely, in my opinion, the most likely assistant coach is AJ McLean, who spent this year with the Marlies. He's been with the Marlies for the last few years. He was actually been with Sheldon Keefe since 2013.
Oh, wow.
Was there with him in Sault Ste. Marie, and was brought on as part of the staff when Keefe was hired as the Marlies head coach. There was always Justin Bourne talks about in Hockey Central about the relationship that McLean and Keefe have. I wouldn't be surprised if McLean ends up as assistant coach and runs the power play just like he did with the Marlies.
Mm-hmm. I just realized, actually, before I go to that, Daniel, what do you have to say? Paul McFarland, a guy who, of course, was successful with the power play over in Florida, came over to Toronto. Everyone thought, man, if he could have, if McFarland does with Toronto what he did with Barkov, Yandel and that, and then he gets Briley, he gets Matthews, Tavares, it's going to be banger, 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 banger. But it wasn't quite the case there. Even with, Barry, I haven't even mentioned, Nylander, all these weapons, just couldn't put it all together.
Yeah, I don't know what really kind of went on there, but it kind of feels like maybe it's like, I just think from the whole personal standpoint, I think he already had that kind of role already as an assistant coach that, I don't know, it was run of the mill kind of thing. Like, I agree with Alex said, like, he found that, like, maybe he wants to be a head coach now. Like, this is the route he's going to take.
Yeah.
And it's kind of something where I think he's in a perfect position now to do it. Like, he had the NHL experience, and then he goes back to, like, a familiar environment where I think he's going to keep growing it. But yeah, that was kind of interesting, like what was going on with that power play. It's kind of something that I was like, I don't know, it's kind of off there with the Leafs.
I think it was. Listen, I'm not in the dressing room, but the fact that as soon as Babcock left, and from that point on until the end of the season, that the Leafs had the second best power play, I think all signs should point towards Babcock.
Oh, yeah. And when his last year in Florida, they had the second best power play behind Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay team had 62 wins. I look at McFarland and I think, you know what? Maybe after Bugner was let go in Florida, he thought maybe this is my chance. And then Quinville was available, and the Panthers go get him. Goes to Florida. Maybe there's a part of him that goes to Toronto and sees what happens with Babcock and thinks maybe there's a chance. I mean, even though we all kind of knew what was happening with Sheldon Keefe. But, I mean, you look at the guy's career path the past few years, and, yeah, maybe this was his fine. This season was maybe a final sign of saying, okay, maybe if I want to get this head coach job, I got to take a step back to go. I mean, to quote the headline of this article from Luke Fox, one step back, two step forwards, really. The little thing I had a few seconds ago was I forgot Romanoff.
I thought you were just saving that till the
I know.
end.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was gonna be like the biggest thing that you're gonna like yell or something into the mic.
No, I feel too sick to do it. But yeah,
okay.
Alexander Romanoff has agreed to terms with the Montreal Canadiens finally. No. He bought a one-way ticket. He's excited. I'm very happy. The reason it's agreed terms is because there's a very strange thing to do with this season and all the uncertainty around it, but he has committed.
It's a 3-year contract, right?
It is. Sorry, it's 3 years. I can't find the exact AAV because nothing's official yet, but yeah, it's a 3-year entry level deal.
So if he plays, because last year we saw Cale Makar, we saw Quinn Hughes come in from college, so it's a little bit different. He's coming in from Russia, but as soon as they stepped on the ice, their entry-level contract came into effect. Is that how it's going to work with Romanov? So if he plays this year, this is technically year 1, whereas if he starts next year, it's 3 years.
I believe so, but I think I saw something that either Eric Engels or John Liu put out that somebody was talking to NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly, right? Not the other one in Florida, Bill Daly. And I don't know how this came up with him, but it would be unlikely that Romanov would be able to play this year.
Yeah.
So, but if he had played, that would have been the case because there was talk of that entry-level slide. So if he did, yeah, I think it would. But if this, and I'm taking it with a grain of salt because I can't, and I tried to find, I couldn't find the exact quote. But it doesn't sound like Romanov will be able to play because if it is that rule of they can't sign, if they sign after the trade deadline, they can't play. I mean, maybe if there were some regular season games, then I think he could, and then it would slide. But that's not. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Okay.
What about you,
Daniel? Just quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to hop on Cap Friendly, and we got 2 huge Anaheim Ducks signings right here. Just for Daniel, Sam Carrick, 1-year contract extension, $700,000, and Brendan Gooley from the Buffalo Sabres trade. 2 years, $800,000.
It's pretty funny. I'm excited for that signing, even though last episode I said, I don't know where this guy's development is going.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like, those are good depth signings. He might become something. Before we move on, I'm also on the Alex Romanov hype train now, I think. Watching him play, seeing a few games, I think he's up there when you talk about Kirill Kaprizov coming out of the KHL. Alex Romanov's a guy where I kind of feel like perfect pick for Montreal, where they are with their defense. Exciting guy, another young guy they could add to say we're building something here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've yelled about it too much. You already know.
I was so they ruined. I woke up to. I had a text from my mom saying that Romanov had come. I had a text from Alex, and I saw that Alex had retweeted. You may have texted me. I can't remember.
No, you texted me.
I woke up. Oh no, sorry. Then it must have been. I saw your retweet,
yeah.
And I saw from the Habs app, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was so happy until I went on Twitter. Remember how I haven't been on Twitter a lot since the quarantine happened?
Yes, sir.
And I see Alexander Romanov. See, mon ami, he's here. And I made the mistake of going to the replies, and it was
no.
It wasn't even Habs fans because they were so happy, but it was Leafs fans saying,
"Don't get me,
it's the normal damn thing. Sandin's better." Is this your
no. Wait. Before you continue your spiel,
yeah,
let's just be clear what type of Leaf fans you're dealing with.
These are the idiots that don't represent the whole of the fan base.
There we go.
Sorry, it's just I was very upset about this. So, and I mean, the Montreal Canadiens have it all the time. If you ever lose to the Habs, go and check your team's Twitter account because the Habs fans will be replying to it.
We mentioned this before, where it's if you love anything in this world, do not check the comment section.
No, well, anyway, yeah. it was those idiots that every fan base has. Right?
Yeah,
saying this is your consolation prize for not getting Lettinen. Shut up. Sandins, they're completely different.
That makes no sense.
Be quiet. But it was.
I hate my fan base.
Hey, same here. I think I may have to make Romanov and Markov into the same video.
No, it's separate videos. We'll do it.
No, it's Alec. Markov goes into the horizon of his retirement, but then it's that fade in of Romanov coming in. It. So yes,
I like it, Daniel. Daniel's on point.
Yeah, a New Hope.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Star Wars.
Just put him on the Twin Suns, and instead of it's his face over Romanov's, and the two sons are Markov and Kovalchuk.
Okay, so whose face is gonna be on Luke Skywalker's face? Because obviously, just to be clear, we're not gonna use the scene from Episode 9.
No.
Okay.
So Romanov will be Luke Skywalker. Then the two sons in on Tatooine, one will be Kovalchuk, and the other one will be Andrei Markov. Is how I think.
If you could do that,
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And
Well,
a Tuscan Raider will be Radulov.
that sounds like so much fun. Like I want to try to do that.
It's good things for the Habs. Again, they've been doing some good stuff with drafting and developing.
Can you clear something up quickly?
Go ahead. He's not Drew Doughty.
Thank you for the love
He's not.
of God.
Shut up.
Oh my God.
Not Drew Doughty. I saw that and just went, all right.
I wanted to clear that up.
He's not Drew Doughty.
I didn't want to burst her bubble.
Yeah, no, I realize that. If anything, I know he's going to be, and I'm not comparing him to these players, but he'll be a Jonas Brodin, maybe a Slavin, a Pesci when it comes to defensive responsibility, which I very much enjoy. So, Daniel.
Yes.
And Alex, if I were to ask you guys, what's the biggest strength of the Vancouver Canucks organization over the past few years, besides spending money on July 1st? What would you say it is?
Drafting.
Scouting, drafting.
Okay, so bad news in Vancouver, which is just music to my ears. First of all, a great read at sportsnet.ca from Ian McIntyre. I'm talking about Judd Brackett. Yeah, he's basically Vancouver's directing of amateur scouting.
He is Vancouver.
Sorry, what did I say?
No. You said you're right. I'm just saying he is Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah. So
especially
he
the last 3 years.
Director of amateur scouting. He's been around since the Mike Gillis days, to be honest. So he looks to be on his way out. Just rejected the contract offer from the Canucks, and it seems to be a bit of a power struggle between him and Jim Benning. And as McIntyre says in this piece, Alex, you said he is actually is Vancouver. Apparently, the only people who are liked more in this organization: Elias Pettersson, Quentin Hughes, and Jacob Markstrom. And this has nothing to do this is a quote from the article. Sources confirmed to Sportsnet that the contract impasse is nothing about Brackett's pay or job title. So the Canucks are about to lose the guy who's basically responsible for really, when we think about the Canucks, as you guys said, it's been drafting and developing. This is, and by the way, Jim Benning doesn't have a contract either. So there is a power struggle between two people who don't have contracts right now, and there could be a chance the Canucks lose both. But Alex, I'll start with you. How colossal of a loss would this be for the Canucks to lose Judd Brackett?
Well, I have here, Judd Brackett's been with the team since 08-09. He was then made Director of Amateur Scouting 2015-16. I have the draft up here. 2016, okay, maybe not the best draft. Olli Juolevi didn't turn out to be, we don't really know what he is. I have here 2017, Elias Pettersson, Cole Lind, who hasn't played in the NHL but could, and Mikey DiPietro.
Fantastic.
That was great.
2018, 3 players who could have played it, who can and probably will play in the NHL. Quinn Hughes, Jet Wu,
great name,
Tyler Madden.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he trade to? Oh no, sorry. I'll shut up.
Tyler Madden was traded to LA.
Good player. Yeah, sorry about that.
Last year, I have 2. These are the 2 players that probably we know that will end up being in the NHL. Obviously, the rest we have no idea. Vasily Podkolzin, Niels Hoglander, who just signed with the team, who probably is their, if not second best prospect.
Mm-hmm. Those are fantastic. You talk about Hoglander. Sweden might get to the gold medal game if they have Hoglander healthy. I mean, if he didn't get thrown out of the qualifying game against Canada.
I mean, if you want to go to the year before, we can do that. Let's go. Brock Besser, Adam Gaudette.
Fantastic. Good prospect.
The year before that, 2014, he's still amateur scout. Jake Virtanen, Jared McCann, Thatcher Demko, Nikita Trimakin, 79 games in the NHL, and Gustav Forsling.
That's great. That's amazing. I think the Forsling's in the 5th round. That is solid.
You bring up Trampkin too, and the only reason he's not playing is because he was unhappy with the way the Canucks organization was going, and he went into the KHL. They should have him right now. So and even if those guys aren't, some of those guys like maybe like a Virtanen aren't NHL stars, they're still players that are contributing.
They're solid. Yeah.
And that's what you want. So apparently the Canucks, as of last year, overhauled their staff. They got rid of 4 scouts and brought in 5 new ones as well. All of this is from Ian McIntyre's article. Fantastic read. I don't know if everything is going so well for you. What's the expression? Don't fix what ain't broke, or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this from the Canucks. I understand Jim Benning's been a scouting guru, as we all know, but this is like when, like, Tampa Bay's worst scenario was when Yzerman left. If they lost Pat Verbeek, which they did, and there's another their other head scout whose name I cannot remember, but they managed to keep him. And you look at Tampa, we always go out about like the guys they bring in, the Chiarellis and all this kind of these late rounders and all that they find, they're gems, right? Detroit, time before that. This could set Vancouver back years.
Yeah. So this is what it says here. According to Matthew Sekeres from TSN, Brackett and Benning's relationship soured after the first day of the 2019 draft. Benning stripped Brackett of all his authority and got much closer with John Weisbrod, who is their current assistant general manager.
Wow, that's a lot. I didn't even read that part. I just read the part where he was offered a 2-year contract. I'm like, oh, only 2 years for this guy, this scouting guy that does so well for them.
Here, so Weisbrod, this is from the Canucks way, Jasmine Yen. It says Weisbrod is a whole other can of worms. He's been with the Bruins, Flames, and even the NBA's Orlando Magic. But even though he has a ton of experience, it doesn't mean that it's good experience. With every team, he has experienced plenty of failure, and now he is Benning's right-hand man.
That is a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, the draft is your blood. You can get away with a lot if you can draft well. And you want to get rid of the biggest gear in that machine?
Isn't Benning is he not a scout? Is he not? That's his thing.
Yes. Yeah, like he loves doing it.
So he knows that drafting is important.
Mm-hmm.
His biggest weakness is July 1st. By far.
So we said, what year was it that Gillis came to the team? Did he start exactly?
Gillis or Brackett?
Brackett.
08-09, he was amateur scout. 15-16, he was director.
Okay, just because I'm looking like Jacob Markstrom's a guy, right? But he was drafted right at 2008, right? So maybe like just before, just after this draft, they bring that guy in, like an example of like a later round pick.
Wasn't Markstrom drafted by Florida?
Yes, he was part of the Luongo trade.
God damn it!
Yeah,
really? That's weird. Okay, yeah. I'll stop. God damn it. Well, anyway, the Vancouver Canucks are such a fun team to look at because it's just like I feel like there's always a fire waiting to happen there, and I'm happy it's not my team. Like, I know also apparently something that's going to go even wrong for Vancouver. Apparently the Canucks were going to make an effort to get the pick back that they trade, or a replacement pick from the JT Miller deal.
Okay.
And that still hasn't been done. And again, if this draft happens in June, which all signs are pointing towards, that's another pick they're not going to be able to get back.
How are you planning on getting that pick back?
No, that's what I mean. He had the plan, but because of what's now happened, he won't be able to.
Okay.
Which I don't.
No, but even let's say the pandemic doesn't hit. I know we're going what if. So he has this plan to get a first round pick back. What on your team are you trading for a first round pick? Let me open up their cap friendly, because I'm thinking of the players, and I can't think of a single one.
Daniel, are you trading Quentin Hughes?
No, you are not.
Are you trading?
No, sorry. This is the thing I just kind of think about, like when you're like, I wish Vancouver was in my team, and it's hard to say. Like it's really tough to say. Like I'm the same way too, because there's so much momentum going on in this team that you see now what's kind of going on, and they want to get that pick back. I'm like, I don't know. It's like a lot of weird decisions going on.
You know what this
year.
team is like? This team is exactly like Florida. They have all this momentum. They have all these players. You think, and you look at Florida. I brought up earlier Borgstrom and Heponiemi. If they were developed properly in Springfield, who knows? Who knows? They had such high potential.
On his bad, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, and I just think you trade for JT Miller, and let's be honest, the trade worked out. JT Miller has been pretty darn good this year. But to say you're going to go get a replacement pick, let me read you the players. You tell me how you're getting a first round pick back. Erickson, no way anyone's trading for him. Besser, you can't trade Besser. That's just stupid. Horvat, you're going to trade Bo Horvat, your captain. I don't think so. JT Miller, no. Tyler Toffoli's expiring contract. Brandon Sutter, I don't know how you're getting a first-round pick for that. Tanner Pearson, same thing. Roussel, Beagle, same thing. Virtanen.
Maybe they give up on Olievy. I don't know.
But who's trading Ulevy for who's giving?
I don't know. It's a package
for Ulevy.
It's a package.
He's a reclamation project. I mean, I could see him maybe getting something for Pearson. He's put his career around, but
yes, but a first round pick?
No, that's the problem. And also,
yeah,
the only other situation you can get a pick is if you take back a bad salary. But the biggest problem in Vancouver right now, besides this whole situation they're about to lose bracket, is that they don't have cap space. And we've made a point of Montreal and Toronto being affected by the cap. The Canucks are going to get it worse than a lot of other teams too.
There are almost half the league is within $1.5 million of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Almost half the league.
On Vancouver, they're trying to win on these entry-level deals for Hughes and Pettersson.
Right.
And it's not going to be easy for you to get support for those, because I don't think Vancouver right now have the depth to make a serious run, and they're not going to have the space to add to that either on the off season.
Right, they're really relying on their goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
If Markstrom is an absolute wall, if Markstrom comes back, they make the playoffs, and is an absolute wall, maybe they can make a run.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, Fleury can prove that. I mean, do they have the start? It takes Markstrom going on a run and Pettersson, Besser, Hughes, guys who have never been in the playoffs before. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's a different game. Yeah. Those guys have to be amazing in their first ever playoff series. Do we have anything else to add on the Vancouver front?
No.
Yes. The winner of that draft, that trade, the New Jersey Devils for that draft pick.
That is very true. That's the first rounder that Tampa for Miller, and then went to who I always forget his name.
Blake Coleman.
Blake Coleman, yes.
For Cal Foot in that first round pick.
Yes.
No, not Cal Foot.
No, Nolan Foot.
His brother.
Yeah.
The forward.
Which one looks like Adam Foot?
No clue.
None of them? Okay.
I considering they're his children, I would say probably both. Hey, though, Adam Foote, so many great people named Adam in the world. I'll tell you who's not a particularly great person. Brandon Leipzig has had his contract terminated by the Washington Capitals after a private message or multiple messages from a private group chat were leaked, where the former Leaf, Golden Knight, Canuck, King, and now a former Cap I laugh at the fact that this guy's been on a carousel of teams.
He was a king.
But in all seriousness, he was a king. Yeah, he was a king.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's weird. Exactly. But now in all seriousness, in this conversation, he said a lot. Some misogynistic stuff. He was body shaming. He was ripping on his own teammates. Teammates that have done a lot of good for the world. I've got some tweets I can talk about a little later. But I don't know where we really talk about, except I saw on Twitter 2 guys from Ryerson, Will Baldwin, obviously, and Mike Jackster, were talking about something I think is very interesting. And that this now sets a precedent for this kind.
No, it does. Okay.
And this is what I want to talk to you guys about, because there's no point talking about that. We know that this is horrible stuff, okay?
Yep.
And we also know that this stuff is unfortunately pretty common. So I want to ask you guys what those two mentioned, and that is this really enough now that you've set a precedent? Was this really the right idea? Because the argument that could be made is, can you really get rid of a guy's contract for this? And now, knowing that everyone knows how common these kind of conversations are, just how much of a mess it can make. Now, I'm not saying anything about whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, and I'm asking.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want? There's many ways we can look at this, but I think if the best way to look at it is, let's just look at reality. I don't see how it makes sense to look at it in a fantasy world, because that helps absolutely no one.
Mm-hmm.
If this was Alex Ovechkin, his contract would not be terminated. I guarantee you. Evgeny Kuznetsov, number one, there was a video of him with cocaine in it. Then he said, I didn't do it. Then tested positive for it. He was suspended. If that was Brendan Leipzig, completely different scenario.
The punishment is different too. Like I know Kuznetsov, the punishment was more with international hockey.
Yeah.
But Leipzig doesn't really have a factor. Doesn't factor into that at all.
He hasn't been an effective player since he was in
the Marlies. The Marlies.
Yeah, the Marlies. And before that, junior. But yeah, the Marlies were the last time he was really a contributor.
For me, if you think that this is a precedent for all players in the league, I don't think that's realistic. Whether it's right or wrong is a different question. That's not the question that I think I'm answering. I think it's not going to happen. If there's a group chat with Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon in it with the same type of thing, you're telling me that they're going to terminate the contract? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. So
then what about this? Let's just, sorry to interrupt, but let's just, how about it? We'll take a step down the road, a different level here. What if it was Kasperi Kapanen?
Oh, it's a tough one.
Listen, if he's a fringe NHL player, that's the only way. I don't. Yeah? I think. Listen, there's programs that the league has created. You look at earlier situations that have gone on. You look at, Slava Voinov obviously is a very different type of situation. He was pretty much kicked out of the league. Austin Watson, right? He had to go. I don't know for a fact if there's a program like this or not, but I imagine some type of sensitivity training. And another thing, receipts, man. That was talked about at the beginning of the year. With Cherry, with Babcock, with Peters, with who else was there? So many names.
What? Well, yeah, Babcock, Peters.
At the beginning,
or Crawford.
Crawford, but Crawford had receipts. He said, "Hey, I did this, but I also did this to change." I don't know how you prove that for Leipzig if we get to that point. Hey man, I'm just being. I think I'm being realistic in saying that if another player who is better, who's consistently in the lineup, this is released, he's probably just put through sensitivity training. Whether it's right or wrong, whether I think that's the right thing to do, it's not the question. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. And another thing, a little bit off point here. Yes, what he did is wrong, but there's no but. It's yes, what he did is wrong, and this is an issue. This is not a sports issue. If you think this is a sport, just strictly a hockey, not even sports, a hockey culture issue, you're blind to social media. You're absolutely blind to social media because
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, because yes, hockey culture. There's an issue in hockey culture. I think we've probably talked about that more than the three of us would have thought we would have to this year.
Hmm.
But don't pretend like it's just hockey. Don't. Because there's crap going on in Europe where fans are literally taunting their own players because of their race.
If you want to look at if you want to look at just misogyny in general, you don't have to. And listen, I'm not a big politics guy, but the whole grab him by the blank thing from the president a few years ago, that private conversation that was leaked, yeah, it's a massive issue. Sorry, Daniel, what do you have to say on this?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I was disappointed as Brendan. As a guy that, I kind of watched a lot of Marley. I went to a lot of Marley's games with him. I was excited when they got him for Nashville, but like taking that aside, it's kind of something too. Like, this has been the year where you kind of reassess, like not just because like I wrote a paper on this about hockey's culture.
Yeah.
It's kind of something where I agree with Alec. It's not like something you're like this is something we got to talk about now with the game. It's like I remember I'm speaking with the professor at University of Alberta. I'm sorry now, like his name escapes me. I'll check the assignment later on, but it's kind of something where it happens in all sports, like everything like this, all this bad stuff. Like, when people get rallied up, when like these things kind of are left unchecked to a certain extent. But I think the way we kind of see it is when we see hockey, it's like that national identity aspect of things where it's like we hold it onto it. Like, this is Canada. In a way, it's like this is something that's special and it's something that we kind of hold like more dearly to us. But it's kind of something where I kind of find it's just another aspect of like this is what's going on in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
it's just we have that sentimental piece to it because we're Canadian.
Just to be clear, there is an absolute issue with hockey culture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, and I think hearing it, and I don't know what they're saying is true or not, but I trust these guys. What I hear that used to happen from Anthony Stewart and Justin Bourne on Hockey Central, even if you probably listen to Overdrive, O-Dog, Noodles, things, yes, have gotten better. Are they the way they should be? No. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done within hockey, but I think a lot of issues that are in hockey are a lot of issues that we have in society in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you can sit there and say you have to fix hockey culture. It's a lot of like the things that he's put in those messages are not just things that happen in hockey. You go on anyone's post on Instagram, like we were talking, and it's a little bit of a different situation, but there's always people poking at things like Romanov, let's say, oh, Sandin's better. If you go on any post, like if you go on Justin Trudeau's Twitter or Instagram comments, you go on Trump's Instagram or Twitter comments, it's an absolute nightmare. Mm-hmm. It is a literal nightmare. So it's not just a hockey issue.
All right. Anything else to say on this, gentlemen?
Did you guys see what Brett Hall said about it?
Yeah, I heard. I listened to the interview. It was.
Do I want to know what Brett Hall had to say?
No, okay. Here's the thing with the Brett Hall interview, in my opinion. Like, reading what they wrote about it and then actually listening back to what he said, it some of the points he made were valid. It's just he went to the next level with some of the things.
Yeah, he did.
That's the issue.
Wait, just give me like 30 seconds. What did he say?
Pretty much saying like there's no fun. There's no more fun in the game because of like he's complaining about people playing Xbox and bringing their Xbox everywhere. And
that made me laugh. Yeah,
and I'm like, man, there's more ways to have fun than just do whatever he's talking about.
Yeah,
but he took you have to read it. I don't remember it off the top of my ways off the top of my head, but
I have it here.
Okay, Daniel,
if you guys want to hear. Okay. All right. Well, this is what Brett Hall said, and I quote: "We can go out after games. We can go to strip clubs. We can go to bars, and we can do whatever we wanted, and it would be all hearsay. The fun is gone." He added, "The game is not fun anymore to me."
Well, after he
Right.
said the game's not fun anymore for me, they talked about fighting. So just
Yeah, that part, and then moving on later on to the interview, he said same thing you said. These, and I quote, "These guys, they take their Xboxes on the road with them, and it's so sad. It's the nature of the game, right? Do you want to go out and have everyone with their cell phone on you, or do you want to just make sure you don't get in trouble?"
If he wants to make an argument about being social instead of cell phones, that's one thing. But yeah, he's going a bit too far there.
took it to the next level, and it was funny. You have to go back and listen to Hockey Central with him. I think to hear how he said the point he was making makes sense if you think about it. It's now is a lot different than when back then. I think players now are a little more hesitant to go out and do certain things because they are not illegal things. Just to be clear, just things in general. It doesn't have to be illegal. You can have fun in legal ways. That's possible.
You know what this interview made me reminded me of in a funny way? It's
What?
it's the prototypical hockey movie
Yes.
in the 80s.
Yes,
in the 80s.
yes.
Yeah.
We always joke about Moneyball and the whole "his girlfriend's a six, don't draft." And it just comes to life there. Just one more thing I want to read here, because amongst all the bad stuff here, we always got to remember that there are always good people. This is from Twitter user at Holtby Moley.
Holy moly.
Quote, "Losers. Nick Dowd and his..." This is in reference to Brandon Leipzig calling his two line mates, Garnet Hathaway and Nick Dowd, losers, right?
Yeah.
Quote, "Losers. Nick Dowd and his wife partnered up with the Caps to create sensory kits for kids with autism so they can enjoy Caps games. Garnet Hathaway created Haas Heroes to give back to first responders who risked their lives to help us all. You are the loser here, Leipzig." And that was the tweet. So just remember, there are always good people out there, especially Nick Dowd. Garnet Hathaway are two of them. Anyway, guys, I think it's time to finally hit the main event of the evening, and that is, of course, our last episode was more of an impromptu one where we looked at each team and we went through our own little Seattle expansion draft protection list with some asterisks there, of course, because we're a few years ago way and contracts are a bit questionable. But I think before we go, of course, I just want to show you guys some stuff. So this is, of course, the original. This is why you should be checking out the YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. I'm currently holding up the original. This is the thumbnail for last episode on YouTube. It's my Kraken. And last night, I wasn't feeling too well, and I was just bored. So I decided to make this new logo. And it is a better crack. He's holding a CCM goalie stick. I don't even know if CCM makes goalie stick. It was the first brand that came to mind. And it is wrapping its tentacles across the Stanley Cup, trying to steal it from the St. Louis Blues. Now, I put this on Instagram, right? And I'm just going to check the poll really quickly because I put the picture.
Daniel, you are so nice. I can't believe you voted yay.
So I put it up and then I asked yay or nay. So I've got so far, I've had 11 people vote on it. 4 people said nay. 2 of which are people I know from back in the day. Really good friend of mine and the guy I went to cadets with as well.
Is it us?
It's no.
Oh, okay.
But one of these people, one of the 2 I used to know, messaged me, and she was giving me flack for how bad it was. It was pretty funny. And the other guy I went to cadets with. And
I also voted no.
I was gonna get for Alex, and then the other 2 people who voted nay against my logo was Alex, thank you, and our friend Daniel, you know her, a beer said no. Yay though, or Talha, shout out to you, my good guy. A friend of mine named Tyler OJ, fellow Habs fan, went to high school with him. Donald Higney from Ryerson said yay. Curtis James, a guy I went to high school with. Emma with the purple hair from Ryerson too. She said yay, thank you, Emma. Daniel, thank you for saying yay. And our friend that we went to 31 Thoughts with, Josh, Leafs fan, also said yay. So thank you to everyone there. If you want to see more content like that, check out all our social medias. I should start using mine more, so I will do that, guys. Don't worry. But anyway, it is time. We have a thumbnail. We have the official logo that I will be using. Seattle, get back to me. I will take royalties as well. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go through each individual team, and we're going to list who we drafted for that team. So let me just go quickly get up all 31 teams that are cap-friendly, and we will go. So while I'm just getting this already, why don't you guys tell me about how you think your team's shaped out?
I think they're interesting. I have no idea what approach I took to my team.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's I like the one word I use is potential, because there's a bunch of guys that I think were sheltered a bit on their other teams that, you don't throw them into the fire, but you just see what they can do with like a bunch of minutes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, just remind me of like Alex Tuck on the like Golden Knights or Shea Theodore, where like these guys got barely any minutes on their teams, and then they go to Vegas, and then they become like cornerstones.
That's very fair. All right. So everyone has their list ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Alex. Daniel. This is your favorite team, even though you deny it. Who did you choose from the Anaheim Ducks?
Okay. I picked Jakob Larson. So potential guy. it's a guy that I wanted the team to protect in our initial protection lists, but there's just too many defensemen on the Ducks. 27th, 2015, great left-hand guy. He was like one of those main guys on the junior teams for Sweden, and it just hasn't really been there for he came in early for the Ducks, but like ever since then it's just been here and there between San Diego, the Seagulls, great name, in the AHL, and the Ducks. So he goes to a place where he could get the top 6 minutes.
I like it. Alex, God damn it. Who'd you pick?
I picked Danton Heinen.
All right, centerman.
Center, 24 years old. You kind of know, you kind of don't know what you have in the guy. They traded. What deal was he part of?
With Nick Ritchie.
He was part of the Nick Ritchie deal. Yes, he was.
Yes.
And I think it's just a guy, man.
Just a guy.
You can throw him in the middle 6.
Yeah, why not?
No, the hell not.
Okay, so I kind of went for a mix of competitive and as well, like if there's a player I couldn't pass up.
Ryan Kessler.
Unfortunately, first of all, my cap hit was $77.9 million for my Kraken.
Oh, Lord.
So I kind of there was a time where there were 6 or 7 teams, and I just kind of needed to pick scraps, and I needed another goalie, so I chose Anthony Stolarz.
Okay.
I had nothing else. I would have chose Getzlaf, but I didn't have the cap, so it wasn't good. I had PK too, but I never mind.
Oh my. Okay, so Nashville, he has PK.
Mm-hmm. Nashville, New Jersey.
New Jersey. My bad.
Okay,
Got confused.
Alex, why don't you tell me who you picked from Arizona, please?
Christian Fisher.
That's a good shout.
Young guy. You don't like just another guy you can develop. I feel like that's with a lot of my guys. They're either guys that you could develop or just kind of just throwing in there. 23, still an RFA.
Solid.
Solid
guy.
pick. Yeah.
What about you, Daniel? Who'd you pick?
I already kind of hinted to this when we were talking before the episode. Nicholas Hjalmarsson. And the way I kind of see it is, yeah, he's been a bit injured here and there, but still has about 2 more years on his contract. And I don't know, I had like a vision of a similar, like he could be the captain of the team. It's just like the silent kind of captain type, like a Mark Giordano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
that's fair. He's we had a hard time choosing who to expose, and Hjalmarsson was definitely one that we all agreed 2 or 3 years ago, definitely for sure. It's a risky pick, Daniel, but I like him. He's a nice guy. Swedish, too. I also picked Christian Fischer for the same reasons you really did, Alex. And also, I was looking kind of weak on my right wing, so I kind of have to do something there. For the Bruins, I selected Matt Grzelcyk.
Okay, interesting
because pick. It was I can't even remember. I looked at I went. There wasn't really a lot else there from what I remember, and I didn't want to take an older guy like David Krejci. As simple as that. What about you, Alex?
I picked Nick Ritchie. And you know, you need some toughness on your team, some truculence.
Okay, Brian.
You never can't have too much of that. And it's another forward guy you can kind of just throw in there. I don't think there's a lot of guys that I picked who have top line potential, but I think there's a lot of guys who have middle six potential, and he's another guy that you could just throw in there.
I like that. Daniel.
Okay, so I always mess up. This has been like this for the last 2 years. I always mess up his name. Alex always corrects me. Zach Senshin. Yes, Senshin. Yeah, I picked him. 15th overall in 2015. Hasn't really gotten a lot of opportunity in the NHL, but like he's proven that he's proven two things. He shouldn't have been in the top 15, but he's also proven that he could be an NHL guy.
Right.
So I'll pick him here.
That's a good pick.
Then while you're here, Daniel, while you're stopping by, who'd you pick from Buffalo?
Buffalo. Okay. This one was a tough one, but I went with
Say it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I went with Brandon Montour.
I knew it. Former Anaheim Duck, and that's the name I picked too.
And hey guys, we all picked Brandon Montour. Daniel, why don't you tell us why we all picked Brandon Montour?
Because there's no one else to pick.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a great commodity kind of guy. Like you know what you get with him. He's gone through the Duck system where this guy could score. He could skate. He's okay at skating. Solid 7 out of 10 on skating, but crucial right hand shot guy that he could just plug him in to the lineup and he'll do something.
He's a defenseman drafted by Anaheim. That's enough. That's enough right there. Okay.
Of a top 4D.
Yeah.
Alex, why don't you start us off with Calgary?
So I went young on this one, and I actually drafted a goalie, Tyler Parsons. Young guy, he can play in the minors. I don't see why not. Obviously I looked at Brody and Hamonic, but I think I have some other options that I like a little bit better. And I didn't really see anyone on the forward and that really interested me. So I went with young goaltender, 22 years old, Tyler Parsons.
All right. Daniel, how about you?
All right, this one was kind of a complicated one for me because I was going to go with that idea of the potential again, but I was going to see with a young guy what you kind of really got. And my first, initially before this episode, I had on my list was Sam Bennett. But I kind of felt that, at this point you kind of know what you got with him already. No matter where Calgary put him in the lineup, top 6 or bottom. So I went with Juuso Välimäki. So 21, he's still coming to his game, but he's someone that I think is ready to make the jump or at least be in a sheltered bottom pairing for Seattle.
I think that's very fair. I selected Andrew Mangiapane. Just, a nice, solid young guy, great name. And at this point, when I got to the Flames, they were another team that I just needed a guy. And I looked at those two defensemen we mentioned earlier and I thought, UFAs, no, not really. So I went with Andrew Mangiapane. Just Mangiapane. You can make me a pizza. That was pretty bad. And then when it came to Carolina, I selected Vincent Trocheck.
Really?
Because
that's interesting.
I needed centerman desperately. And at this point, I had a lot of defensemen. And I think everyone available in Carolina was a fantastic pick. So, Alex, I feel like you have another player, so I'd like to know who did you pick from?
I do have another player. He is a forward. It is Nino Niederreiter.
Nino!
Yeah. I really think in the last few years, Nino Niederreiter, playing in Minnesota, didn't really... it was interesting. Then Paul Fenton absolutely got... Right? Was Paul Fenton who got murdered on that trade?
Yes.
Was it Victor Rask they got?
It was Victor Rask, Minnesota got. And Nino Niederreiter, I feel like he's just been killing it. Honestly, I love Carolina way too much. And I really like Nino Niederreiter.
Daniel.
I took Jake Bean. Yeah.
I honestly thought you were about to say Jake Gardner. You said Jake. My heart sank.
Jake.
My heart sank.
I took Jake Bean. We talked about it last episode. Carolina was going to bleed either in the offensively or defensively from this. So I took Jake Bean. He's the youngest out of the team. He was a lottery pick, and it's just someone that Carolina might not miss him, to be honest, with the amount of guys they're coming up, and the people they already have on the defense. So I take it here. Someone that he could come into the NHL as well.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. That's decent. So, Alex, why don't you tell me, who did you select from the barren wasteland that is the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot for me to choose from, so I went good old right-handed defenseman Connor Murphy.
Fair enough. Anything special about him besides the fact that he's right-handed?
Right-handed defenseman.
Daniel, who'd you
good
pick?
bottom pairing defenseman. How about that?
Solid, ridiculous Yarmerson.
That's what I'll say.
Anyway, Daniel, who'd you go for Chicago?
I took Dylan Sikura because he's proven to be kind of like a quality bottom six guy that could skate, and that's honestly all I could take from Chicago.
All right, I took Malcolm Subban, man, because I'm on a mission to make sure he plays for every team in the league.
Every expansion team as well. Yeah,
he's gonna do it. He's gonna be flipped in training camp because of something's gone terribly wrong. Funny fact, I'm pretty sure he was picked the selection before Montreal. I would have loved if they had. And I've reunited him with someone special later on, which we'll get.
No, you already spoiled it. You said you said PK.
Alex, I feel like it was a slam dunk who to take from Colorado, Alex. But I want to see if you guys made a different decision. Who'd you take?
Slam dunk. Did I miss someone?
Who'd you pick? Who'd you take from Colorado then?
I don't know who this slam dunk is. I'm reading over this list again, and I have no idea. I picked JT Compher because he's a center and he can play down the middle and he can play on the right wing. Who did I miss?
Hold on.
Was it Josh Anderson?
Josh Anderson's on Columbus.
No, he's not. There's a Josh Anderson on Colorado.
Oh, it's like the 21-year-old defenseman.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. No, I don't care about that guy.
Okay.
Okay.
I got no idea.
What about you, Daniel? Come on. Give me the
I picked Philip Grubauer.
Why?
I don't know. Deserves another chance. It's a low cap hit, and you just need someone to. I looked through all this list. I'm like, what other goalie are you going to take from other teams?
We left two pretty big ones open.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they could be a tandem one. We'll see what happens throughout the.
That's fair enough. I went with Ryan. Is it Ryan or Adam? Ryan Graves.
Ryan Graves. Is that the guy who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was super solid. Young guy, too. Man, I can't believe there's another Josh Anderson. Maybe he has a better agent. But hey, let's talk about Josh Anderson and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Daniel, who'd you take from Columbus?
I took Boone Jenner, one of the greatest names. He's a guy that, you could he has that aggressive sandpaper kind of game that, could translate if you want grit on that top six, or do you want him to just be like a really, really solid third line center?
Mm-hmm. That's the type of player Pittsburgh would need. Alex, who'd you take from CB?
I took Nick Foligno. My God. Pardon?
All-star.
Yeah, well, listen, man. He's you do need that leadership in the room, and yeah, he's getting up there in age. He is 32, but you know who he could be like? Derek Englund in Vegas. He was that real leader in the room. Okay, that's my reason I picked Nick Foligno.
I also picked Boone. From what I think I read somewhere that he was a decent two-way player. I feel like that's where I got the thing of him being good with some Rachel Doré. I think she talked about he was a very underrated two-way player. So I'm going with Boone. He's just, what a great name to you. Boone Jenner. We'll go over to the Central Division now, and we'll look at the Dallas Stars, where I have selected maybe a risky pick, but a player I never have felt like he got a fair start, and I'm going with Julius Honka. Honka.
I have the same pick.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
And
so do I.
Why did you guys pick Honka? Why not? Why?
For me, I think it really was. Yeah, he really didn't get much of a fair chance in Dallas. And yeah, you know, you're taking a chance. Is he coming back to the NHL? Probably. I think he'd kind of be perfect for a team like this. You don't really know what the team's going to be like. Is he going to automatically play in the NHL? Is he going to have to go back to the AHL for a little bit? You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an NHL player eventually, like sooner rather than later.
What about you, Daniel? Why?
You know, he's had those bad negotiations with the Dallas Stars. You know, he's clearly on his way out. He doesn't want to play for them. He was a first-round pick for them. That's a big loss. So he goes somewhere where he's kind of guaranteed minutes the moment he goes to an expansion team.
Yeah.
That's fair. How about Detroit? Alex.
I took someone I vouched for during our protection list, Brendan Perlini.
Same here.
You know, he's 24. He can play on either side. He's played on the left wing. He's played on the right wing. That's kind of, you know, Chicago traded him for, I believe, Alec Regula, who's playing in the OHL this year. You don't know really what you got yet. It's an interesting one. He hasn't worked out Chicago. He was in Arizona, correct?
Yeah.
Who did he get traded for from Arizona? Why isn't that
Dylan he was traded Strome? For it was both of them were traded for Nick Schmaltz.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
Real.
And this is a guy he could potentially work out. That's the reason I picked him.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, who'd you pick?
I picked Madison Bowie because he has that NHL experience already. I don't think he fits into Detroit's long-term plans. But it's a guy that I know he could play in the NHL.
I'm surprised none of you picked Jimmy Howard, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I thought no. Let's go off.
I did too until I saw when I saw his age, I'm like, no.
Yeah, and then I saw he had 2 wins and like 25 losses this year. That's
man. I'm looking right, and I'm thinking, damn, poor Jim. And you talk about Bowie not being part of the future plans. I don't think a lot of these players are a part of Detroit's future plans to be. No. Like I said, I took Perlini too. And going to Edmonton, I selected Adam Larson because this is a guy who is still a great defenseman, a great defensive defenseman, and I think he could really benefit from a fresh start. Daniel, why not?
Yeah, same thing. I think with this move, you get a solid right-hand shot, and I don't know, Edmonton in a way kind of cleans their hands off of the Taylor Hall kind of thing. They kind of just move on and go like, you know, let's not look about that. Let's not think about that now. Let's focus on our team. But, you know, it's something where, you know, they kind of have to. You're moving forward with Ethan Bear, Oscar Klefbom, and Darnell Nurse. So, and you have like, you know, what's it like Philip Broberg and Evan Bouchard coming up. So they could take the loss here.
Yeah, I picked someone different than you guys.
Who'd you pick?
It's still a defenseman. I picked Caleb Jones. 22. This move's really for the future.
Okay, that's fair. We'll go to the Panthers. Again, one of the most disappointing teams in the league. Alex, who did you select from the failing Panthers?
Yeah, this was an interesting one. I wanted to go for a goalie, but I didn't really think... you didn't know what you were getting out of Chris Drieger. Samuel Montembeault, I don't think has turned out to be anything yet.
Anything, period.
I went with Frank Vitrano. You know, you get the experience, interesting guy. You know, you can see what you get out of him. It's kind of what Vegas did, right? Just picking guys you don't really know. I mean, yes, you know about Frank Vitrano, but you don't know what he could be.
All right. I like that. Great name, too. Frank Bertrando. Daniel, who did you pick from La Florida?
I picked Henrik Borgstrom.
Was that an option?
Was that an option?
No, we protected him, didn't we?
Oh, we protected him.
Oh my god.
Well, while Daniel is redoing his
My mistake.
when Daniel's quickly redoing his Florida pick, I'll tell you that I started away from those Calgary defensemen because of UFA stuff. But if there was a player I was going to try and keep and re-sign from being UFA, it was Evgeny Dadonov, because I love the name. There's this YouTuber named 2BC Productions, 2BC.
Yep.
And he has this famous simulate, he's really good at GM modes in NHL 20, does a lot of NHL 20 stuff. And one time, years ago, I forget what team he was, but he was playing the Habs. And the Habs had this player named Evgeny Dadonov, and he just kept scoring, and he's become a giant meme on that channel. So I'm going to select Evgeny Dadonov. Daniel, do you have a new selection from the Panthers?
Yes, my mistake. I protected Frank Vetrano by accident.
You fool.
No worries. I'll pick Anton Strawman here. He can still play. Experience there. I don't know. He's one of those guys, the late bloomers that it's like a Giordano. You don't look at the age.
Gio's old. I didn't realize how old Gio really was. We're moving on, though, to the LA Kings. And when I look at the LA Kings, guys, I think, damn, there is nothing there quite yet. So you were just talking, Daniel. So why don't you know what? No, Daniel, I'm not. You've lost your right to go first this round. Alex, tell me, who'd you take from LA?
There wasn't really a whole lot to pick from. No way I was picking Jonathan Quick. Sorry, man. I went with leadership and experience, and I need to fill my cap. Dustin Brown.
Yeah. Oh, Dustin Brown. The ghost of Dustin Brown.
Yeah.
Is that all leadership?
Yeah.
I went with the pick.
Cap.
Sorry. And cap. I went with a pick because Daniel kind of joked about it. I went with Tim Shallard. And that's the only reason why, because Daniel made a joke about it during the draft. And who'd you pick, Danny boy?
I picked Ben Hutton.
Ben! Oh, I love Ben.
Great show.
Great name. Ben Hutton.
Yes. Good, solid guy. I keep saying that for a lot of these defensemen. I get. Yeah, he's solid guy. Yeah, good team player. Safe pick. I was thinking Jonathan Quick, but I feel like it'd be like a Marc-Andre Fleury situation where LA's like, hey, take a draft pick as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens. But that's hypothetical.
We'll go
I can't believe they gave up a second-round pick.
I know.
Did they not just come off a cup win?
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were desperate for money.
Oh my god.
We'll go to it. I was incensed that this team. Sorry, what am I saying? I could not believe we didn't protect this player in Minnesota, and
I know exactly who you're talking about.
With the winner of my first ever Fulton Reed Award for best defensive defenseman, I'm taking Jonas Brodin. He's quiet. He'll do his job. What about you, Daniel?
Same thing. Jonas
Brodin.
Jonas Brodin. And we move on to les Canadiens de Montréal. Et j'ai choisi Artturi Lehkonen. Artturi Lehkonen is one of two alternate captains, by the way.
We all selected Artturi Lehkonen.
And for some background, Artturi Lehkonen, great guy. He's a good penalty. He does so many good things, and he gets so many great chances. Once he starts bearing his chances, man, that's gonna be he's a good player. He's just a good, nice little player to have. He's not like an incredible dude, but he's just a solid player, and he's got a great sense of humor. He's Finnish, so there's nothing wrong with Artturi Lehkonen from Finland. And from Nashville, let me ask you, Alex, who did you take from my most disappointing team of the year?
I selected Colton Sissons. He's on a little bit of longish contract signed to 2026. He is in fact 26 years old. He can play down the middle. He can play on the wing. He's a great just seems like a guy you want on your team. Mm-hmm. Also because I didn't think anyone else on this team was pickable.
Daniel.
I picked Kyle Turris because
Reclamation project.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Someone that I feel that needs a new team desperately. Yeah. Cap hit's kind of wonky there. It's pretty long, but he's only 30. he's proven he could play the top six as a center before. And to be honest, at this point of the draft, like when I was looking at my lines, I didn't have a center, a top center.
Yeah.
So I'll just put him there.
I get it. Like, that's a guy. There was some players in the league you just want to succeed. You want to see succeed, and I think Kyle Terrace is one of them. He's such a great guy too, and he escaped from Ottawa. So I actually went. Yeah, I had the problem looking at centers, and I thought if there's a centerman, I'm going to try and re-sign as well. It's going to be Mikael Granlund because I think he is fantastic as a two-way player, and I've always had a very big soft spot for him. And I'd like to keep him in one place for long because, of course, he had his kid last year, the day after he got traded, and I feel really bad for him about that. I'm just going to take it away from New Jersey because I told you I'm bringing PK to Seattle because yes, it's a big cap hit, but something that we all need to remember is marketing. Seattle is going to be a successful franchise nonetheless, but for my jersey sales, PK sells. All right, PK is a brand, and I love him. It's as simple as that. And he'll bring former Olympian Lindsey Vonn around with him. So, Alex, tell me, who'd you take from the Devils?
Did not select PK Subban. I almost selected Connor Carrick, but I went with Jesper Bratt, young guy. Can fit into your NHL lineup now and has potential to be a darn good player.
Daniel.
I picked PK Subban. All the reasons you said already, Adam.
Let's go. PK, great guy. And I also think maybe a fresher start would make PK look a little better. Let's go to the New York Islanders, guys. And I have a feeling we all went out of the field here and chose the same guy. So I'm going to start with you, Alex.
Whenever you say that, I don't know if I selected the same
so never mind. Yes, we didn't.
Did you? I have this feeling you selected Josh Hosang. I did not go that way. I went with Devin Tays, left-handed defenseman. That's something I think, looking at my team, is something I lacked a little bit. He's only 26. Still has some years left on him, obviously, and seemed to be an important part. Anyone on New York on defense seems to be an important part of their team. So bringing that to the Seattle Kraken would be lovely.
I think that's fair. What about you, Daniel?
Yes, and the biggest mistake ever, I picked Sebastian Aho on defense. No, I'm kidding. I actually went with Cal Clutterbuck. I wanted that personality on the team, a guy that for sure could kind of excel in that bottom six. I know he's 32, but looking other than Cal Turris and Subban, I picked a bunch of young guys. This is a guy I would want on a young team.
Yeah, and that truculence, okay? Don't forget about that.
I don't know what to say about the fact that you that guy. Cal Clutterbuck, part of the best fourth line in hockey according to some experts. Though now we're gonna go to the New York.
Who did you pick?
Oh yeah, I chose Josh Hosang.
Josh Hosang, right? Okay.
I was looking kind of.
So we didn't pick the same guy then.
No, we did not. I smug and missed there. We'll go to the Rangers. I selected Brandon Lemieux because he's a prick.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's a player I think everyone would love on your team, but you playing against him, and I think the Rangers would actually hate to lose him. And I think if things go wrong for my Seattle team, I think I could get a good price for him.
I went a different direction. I looked at their defense. Libor Hayek. I think that's how you pronounce it. 22 years old. He split this year between the AHL and the NHL. Whether he comes into the NHL first year, maybe not. Because since I picked a couple of older guys, but he's a guy for the future.
I like it. Dan the man.
I picked Elias Anderson.
Oh yeah.
He wants to get out of New York and he wants to play. So only 21, 7th overall in his draft. So that's for me, that's something that Seattle takes.
I think that's fair.
In a heartbeat, I think.
I've always liked Elias Anderson because of him throwing his silver medal in the stands.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people weren't happy about that, but I loved it. I thought, there you go.
It's okay
You're not.
Never mind. It's okay. Never mind. I'll tell you after.
So we had this argument before.
No, I was just gonna say you're okay with him throwing the silver medal over, but the hockey players have to wear suits. Those are opposite.
Yeah.
Those are opposite spectrums. People who
Yes, of course it is. One's first off, one's an on the ice ceremony where for some reason we want
no,
to.
but I'm saying people who think it's okay for him to throw the medal over are the same people who think the hockey players don't have to wear suits. And opposite, right? That's all I'm saying. So you're just on different spectrums. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's a compliment, actually.
I am feeling so sick. I am trying to truck through this, guys. I won't lie to you. We'll go to the Ottawa Senators. I selected the Reindeer Rudolph Balsers.
Me too.
My right wing does not look great. Why'd you select Balsers, Daniel? Sorry. You know, Alex, go on and we'll discuss mine now.
I picked Chris Tierney. I needed a center who can fill in on my top 6 because I realized that a lot of the players I picked are either young or not top 6 players.
All right, and Daniel, tell me why we all love Rudolph Balsers.
He already looked great during that Erik Karlsson trade, and he's already proven it at every level. Even with the Sens this year, he's consistent. He's a guy that you could keep growing.
Mm-hmm. And while you're here, do you want to tell me about who you selected from the Flyers?
Yes, I went kind of off the board with this one because I've always liked this guy's game. Robert Hagg.
Hag.
Okay. Hag. This is what I like. He's not a pretty player, but he gets the job done. He'd be like your bottom pairing or your 7th defenseman.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. How about you, Alex? Who did you select from the Flyers?
I picked Nolan Patrick. I'm taking the chance on Nolan Patrick.
I like it. I know we had a very heated debate about Nolan Patrick, and I do want to make it very clear. I hope his career is a great and successful one. But I went with the Flyers being one of those teams where I needed to fill in spots. So my my 5th center is Derek Grant, who's a former Duck. Is all there is to really say about Derek Grant. There's not much there. Remember? Do you guys remember the show Life with Derek?
Yes.
I loved that show when I was young.
It's the same guy? No, I'm kidding.
Man, you know what's weird? The guy who played Derek and the girl who played Casey dated. It was really weird. Yeah, they dated for a bit.
Oh.
I know, it's really weird. But I'll tell you what also is weird. I hate the success that the Penguins have. So, guys, who do you want to steal from that Pittsburgh Penguins? Because there's a player who is there who is an RFA that I think we all should have taken.
Matt Murray.
Yeah, Matt Murray.
Matt Murray. Okay, good. We all picked Matt Murray because he is a goaltender. I know I have been rude about Matt Murray before, but he has still been there.
The right answer.
Yeah, he's won, and he's a controllable goalie who's an RFA. And I feel like a team would pay a pretty penny for Matt Murray if things went south. So move on from the wildly successful Pittsburgh Penguins to the team that just can't win no matter how hard they try. The San Jose Sharks, guys. Who did you pick? We'll start with Mr. Glass. You're both wearing glasses, goddamn. Alex, who'd you pick?
I picked Radim Simek. I feel like I kind of went off board here. I talked to someone who is a San Jose Sharks fan, and he told me lovely things about this guy. And to be honest, I looked at the rest of this team, and I didn't really see much else to take. I wasn't taking Joe Thornton. I could have taken Melker Karlsson, and there was literally no one on D that I would want. So
Daniel.
Radim Simek is my guy.
All right, Daniel.
I took Melker Karlsson. Top 9 guy. Can do something. I'll see how he does without a center like what San Jose has, but I'll take the risk on him.
I like that answer. I took Joe Thornton because I thought, man, we need some character. We need a real man's man, so I selected Joe Thornton. I have him playing with Christian Fischer and another player we'll get to a little later, but I love Jumbo Joe. I've been very passionate about this guy in the past, and I will trade him to a playoff team, period, not just a quote-unquote championship-level team. I will give Jumbo the chance no matter what is out there. St. Louis is the home of my captain because he's the only guy who has more than 2-3 years left. I've selected Justin Falk.
Oh, so
Me
did
too. Yeah.
I mean,
I thought
he's
you-
probably.
To be honest, I thought you were going to pick Marco Scandella. I'm not going to lie.
Oh no, not when Justin Falk is sitting there.
Okay, let's move on to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Who'd you guys take, Alex?
I went really young on this one. I had to jump at the opportunity to pick up Cal Foote. When he was drafted, such high potential. Obviously, there's still potential there. So I'd like to take him on, throw him down to the minor team in Palm Springs, Florida.
The Syracuse Crunch.
No. They're opening the Seattle team. No, that's the Vegas team. Never mind. I don't know where the Seattle AHL team is. Never mind. I was excited.
All right, Daniel.
I took Andre Palat.
Why?
He's proven himself already. Kind of keep saying this a lot, but yeah, he's proven himself. 29 only. Cap hit's like kind of big, but he's a guy that could play in your top 6 right away. And he's someone that he's just like a guy that he could score.
Just to be clear, the Seattle AHL team is in Palm Springs.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wait. The Seattle Thunderbirds.
It's WHL.
That's dumb. That's very dumb. Okay, well, I selected Cal Foote as well. Pretty obvious answer. And we'll move on. Alex, you're the biggest Leafs fan here because the other person is a Ducks fan. So, Alex, who did you take from the Leafs?
I picked Andreas Janssen. He had a down year this year, but he has potential to be quite a good player. He's 25. Let's see what happens with Andreas Janssen.
Daniel.
Same pick.
Same.
I almost
same
went,
reasons.
I almost went with Jeremy Bracco, but
man, that guy needs a new team to go to yesterday.
Yeah.
Man, the thing with Janssen, he's kind of like Kasha. That I like him. I just want him to stay healthy, and then I can see what you want.
Yeah, that was the problem this year.
So why don't you guys start telling me who did you take from the Vancouver Canucks? Daniel, why not? Go ahead.
I took Tanner Pearson. Always liked this guy. I'm a big fan of him ever since again the World Juniors. He could play in that top 9. He's been consistent throughout his career. He's had maybe that one off season, really really off season with the Penguins, but he's bounced back pretty well.
Alex.
I took Michael Furland. He had a off year this year. Obviously, he was injured pretty much most of the year. But I really think if he was in the lineup the entire year, he would have been another, maybe not a massive game changer, but he does bring that grittiness, that truculence to the team. So I really like him. I'd like him on my Seattle Krakens.
So. I did have Tanner Pearson, but I had cap issues, so picking PK really handicapped me here. So I have to just move a cheap guy that, there's so much potential, but the guy just can't put it together. I went with Nikolai Goldobin. There's not much to say. There wasn't a whole lot in Vancouver. Back to that conversation. What did they have to trade for a pick? We'll go to the Washington Capitals. They finally got a cup a few years ago. They're decent now. Alex, why don't you tell me who you're stealing from the Capitals?
So I feel like I went a little bit off the board here. I picked a goaltender. It is not Braden Holtby. I picked Phoenix Copley. He signed, I believe, a 3-year deal, $1.1 million last season. And he really hasn't gotten the chance with both Samsonov and Holtby there. If Holtby leaves, maybe Copley gets a chance next season, but I'd like to have him as my backup for Murray in Seattle.
Daniel.
I picked, I kind of went off the board as well. I picked Lucas Johansson, so the brother of Ryan.
Really?
They're brothers. He was a first he was a first round pick. He hasn't had a chance really in Washington. So, he gets to go to a team that he gets to play for. He's already 22 and he's been consistent.
I chose Holtby just because I wanted to have a scenario where I had Holtby and Murray at the same time, so I can bring Caps and hands together.
I was thinking of that too, but I because of cap issues, that's why I picked Grubauer over Holtby.
Wow, and hey, how did that go against the Blue Jackets? It didn't. And then we'll finish off with the Winnipeg Jets, who, man, I feel like a bully taking something. I won't lie to you guys. So, Daniel, you're the sweetest of the three of us. So, who did you decide to steal from the lovely Jets?
You guys go first. I don't know. I'm looking back on mine now, and I'm like, I don't know if that was a solid pick. So I'll see what you guys pick first.
I'll go first. I picked Sami Niku, who I can't believe we had him unprotected.
I think it's... Who did we have again? Was it because of... I think we may have gone the different option of like choosing... It wasn't just like the three defenseman thing. I think it's just looked at the offensive and we're like, hey, let's do something about this. Because you weren't going to give up Kyle Cotter. Yeah, I went with Niku too. He's got some great hair. Really, really good hair.
No, we did. We selected Morrissey Pionk and Logan Stanley.
Do we want to change that?
I don't know.
No,
see, that's why I'm thinking of that. Because
I
was thinking, I don't know.
It's too late. I just stole Sami Niku from the Winnipeg Jets.
Right. And Mr. Honorable mentions himself, Daniel. Why don't you finish us off here?
Yeah, it was a toss-up for me. It was going to be either Sami Niku or... who else did I have? Like, I had Matthew Perreault, to be honest, on this. Leadership, yeah. But I'll go with Sami Niku as well.
I'm surprised Daniel didn't have more honorable mentions this episode.
I did, but like I realized like this 30 30 teams. I'm like, no, I can't. I had to cut down the list.
You would have had a roster of 60. An honorable mention for each team.
Yeah.
You'd have a baseball team, basically.
Yeah.
Coming up to the pitch. Braden Holtby.
Oh my god.
All right. I guess that's everything, guys. A good episode. I really enjoyed this episode. As I do all of our episodes because they're all fantastic.
Okay.
So, are we ready to announce the big announcement, or do we want to wait?
Wait.
Can I add two things before we do it?
And I have an update too.
Okay. Can I have two things I'd like to say beforehand?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, two things. Happy Mother's Day, as always. Yes, of course. Yes. Happy Mother's Day. That's the biggest thing today.
That's very.
Yes. All our mothers are amazing.
Yes, mine's the best.
Second, and you're gonna laugh at this. Well, actually, no. This is like two other things after the Mother's Day thing.
Okay.
Today is Happy Birthday, Ryan Getzlaff.
Happy birthday, my guy.
And pretty funny. I never knew this growing up when they became two of my favorite players, but on May 16th, a day before my birthday, is Happy Birthday, Corey Perry.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy early birthday, Corey Perry. I do have an update. So I ordered my Lego, and it's coming on Monday, supposedly. It was supposed to come on Friday, but it got delayed.
Tell the listeners what you ordered.
Kylo Ren's ship.
Man, that's wicked.
Solid centerman.
I don't know. I see him more as a winger. I see I see a lot more attack out of him. He's a
crazy guy. He's obviously in net.
He demands a trade every 2 years.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Alex Semin. There's a lot of offense there, but he doesn't last for long. Shall we say. He's going to be gone by the end of it. He was a hat. It was so weird. Okay, I think that is everything. Great?
Yes.
All right, Alex, would you mind doing the end thing?
If you like this episode, make sure you like it. Click subscribe, the red button at the bottom. If you're on YouTube. If you are listening to oh my god, if you're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, whatever you're listening on, make sure you subscribe to us too so you know exactly when our episodes come out. Make sure to leave a review, a comment, whatever the hell you want. Maybe we'll talk about it. We probably will. Make sure to follow us on social media. Everything's down in the description. And make sure to go to our Instagram page and follow us, because we love followers. And we love you. Okay?
We love you. We love all of you.